Oh, first of all, congratulations on another super LP from the Beatles.
I personally like it better than the last one that we did,
do?
the double album, yeah. So I like the songs a bit better. I think it's more of an LP. It's very good.
What were your own favourite numbers? Which were you particularly satisfied yourself on this LP? Which ones stand out?
Well, I like Come Together. That's a great one, which is John's one.
Yeah.
I like Something, George writes. I think it's, for me, I think it's the best he's written. And I like Because on the second side.
Why did you use the lyric "Turn Me On" and "Blow My Mind" in that particular song? I rather felt that sounded a bit passé in 1969 because it's been used so much in the past.
Yes, well, they were John's lyrics. But I think, if they'd have been straight, so I'm not taking any blame, but no. If they'd have been used just straight, if it had been "You turn me on, you blow my mind," okay, that would have been passé. But to say that because the world is round, it turns me on, it's great.
Yes,
it's
I
like
see.
Well, it's not fantastic, but it's
No.
it's as good as
That's
good enough for me,
yeah,
And because the wind is high, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's much better than "You blow my mind, baby, honey bunch." I like all the others. I think there's not a bad track on it, but my favourites are those ones, and then the long one,
Oh yeah.
the whole of the long one,
Yeah.
the whole of the end bit. I think that works good.
I think a lot of people might be surprised that you sort of dared to take Golden Slumbers, the well-known lullaby, and give it a new variation. I enjoyed it very much, but what made you decide to do that? Because the Beatles have never done that before, have they?
No.
Taken another tune or lyrics?
No. Well, I'll tell you, I was just playing the piano in Liverpool, my dad's house, and my sister Ruth's piano book, she was learning piano, and those sort of with Do You Ken John Peel?
Yeah.
And Golden Slumbers and your old
Yes,
favourites,
oh, yeah.
was up on the thing, this stand, there's a little book with all those words in it and stuff. So I was just flicking through it and I came to Golden Slumbers, So I just started, because I can't read music, so I didn't know the tune. I can't remember the old tune, So I started just playing my tune to it. And then I liked the words, so I just kept that, and then it fitted with another bit of song I had, which is the verse in between it, so I just made that into a song. It just happened because I was reading her book.
And what about the reference to the Queen? What made you put that on the LP? That's caused a lot of surprises. Very nice, but it was, a lot of people didn't know it was there.
I saw your column in the daily newspaper.
I wish I could have got a hold of you.
That was just, I don't know, I was in Scotland, and I was just writing this little tune. I can never tell, like, how tunes come out. I just wrote it as a joke, I wrote this tune and it happened to start off, Her Majesty's a pretty nice girl. She doesn't have a lot to say. So I just wrote those little, I wrote a few more lines with it. And just as a little sort of joke tune, Her Majesty, I thought of it as the Queen, just because I'd think of that as Her Majesty.
Well,
it was around about the time the royal family was on telly too.
Yes.
That big film about them. You could refer, like they refer to a girl as... lady or girl or, like Lady Madonna or just some sort of name, to call a girl.
Mm.
It could be that too, like Her Majesty, worshipping your girlfriend or your wife.
Yes, I see. So it's not to be taken too seriously.
Not really, you can if you like.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yes. What about the image of the Beatles? Now, there's no doubt that the older generation who've been very for you, a lot of them have sort of started saying things like, oh, they're not like they used to be. What are they doing? All this hair and they're not
It's
so
true,
snappily dressed. Does this disturb you?
No.
That you might lose some of your old...
See, the thing is, you grow up, everyone grows up, and it is always a great pity to see a baby turn into an adult. Because it's always nicer when they're a baby and they go goo-goo and they do everything you want. It's lovely. And in a certain period in our career, we did... we were sort of particularly nice. We had like a very all-round appeal. It wasn't put on, we were more like that, But as we've grown up, you become more individual. And so, like, for instance, if you don't want a press interview, like these days, we don't have to say yes. We're more true to ourselves these days. And it obviously doesn't please some people, but I think you find like a lot of other people like us for it. You know, I tell you what happened. Once in the old days, we used to wear leather jackets. We used to wear leather suits a lot. And we changed. Brian said, look, lads, smarten up a bit, you know, get yourselves suits. So we got suits and ties and stuff, and we went on like that. We gained a whole new audience and lost all the people who wanted us in leather.
Oh, I see.
See, so this is happening again, you know. I think it always will happen that, where we'll lose all the people who wanted us to be just 4 nice, clean-cut lads, and who didn't want us to grow beards.
Yes.
And we'll gain all the people who don't care whether we got beards or what, you know, because they're out for us,
Yes.
not for what we look like or how nicely we speak, you know.
Yes.
Just they're out for us being truthful to ourselves. That's what they're interested in.
How much interest and how much control do you have over Apple now that you have a new manager in Mr. Klein?
We
Are you like
the
a
four of us
businessman?
have. No, I don't like doing the business
No,
bit
no.
that much, but you can't avoid it. See, the thing is, we were once a band, just a band, but then because we were successful, you can't help it being successful. You know, money comes in. You know, you can't help that again. When money comes in, income tax has to be paid. So you can't really help just turning into a businessman because someone says to you, you know, well, where's your income tax, mate? And you say, well, I better get on to someone, you know, I hope I've got a bit to pay you and stuff. So you've got to get all that together, you know. So it's just force of circumstance, you know, you can't help it.
Paul, what about the future of the Beatles? I happen to know that the organisers of the Isle of Wight Pop Festival are going to ask you and the rest of the Beatles if you will top the bill next year at the Isle of Wight. Now, what's your reaction to a thing like that? Are you likely to go back on stage and perhaps do a show like that?
I don't know,
Does it
you know.
appeal?
I don't think so. For me, you see, what happened was when we played the Cavern, when we played the really early days, we really enjoyed performing, you know, and that was the fun, was to perform. But since then, our things got more into records and songwriting, mainly because if you start to perform, after, say, the Cavern, you start to perform at, like, Peterborough Empire, Glasgow Empire, Liverpool Empire, you get an act. And, like, we never used to really vary the act. Occasionally we put a new song in. But you get very stereotyped, you know, and we just got an act. I mean, once you knew the act,
Yeah.
there wasn't really much more fun in it, you know, except if anything went wrong or anything went particularly right, you know, but it was normally just, here we go again. So for us, we've done all that you can do in performing. We can get bigger audiences, we can get bigger in quantity, but in quality of performance, it's difficult. You know, I personally, if we were going to do anything, prefer to just go right back to a small club.
You would.
Just have 50 people in and sing to them, you know, and have a bit of a sing-song. I'd get more fun from that.
You would. And what about John? He seems to be
John
wanting
loves
to
it,
go
yeah.
back and perform. Isn't this
Sure.
going to cause a sort of division in the group?
No,
I
no.
mean,
No, the thing is, John wants to do that, you know, and I think it's great, you know. I mean, see, I've just said I don't particularly like the idea of playing to those many people, but I'd hate to stop him doing it. I mean, he
Yes.
loves it. He did this Toronto thing and had a really great time. So I'd be the last person to say, well, you know, don't do it because you've got to just do it with the Beatles and stuff. I think it's a great idea anyway. You know?
what do you do about decisions like that? Do you have meetings still and talk things over, or do you just go your separate ways and get together when it comes around to recording?
Yeah,
are the Beatles
we're
still as much in contact with each other as they were?
We're not as much in contact with each other as we were when we were on the road every day, in the same van, in the same car, same dressing room. Obviously, we're not in that kind of contact. But I think Abbey Road shows that we're in contact. It's not as
Yeah.
though it's like a made-up album. We're
No.
playing all the way through it,
Yeah.
and we
yes.
play together. So, I mean, we're in contact. We have plenty of meetings. In fact, I've got one any second now, David. We used to get together once a year and say, OK, we'll go to Japan, New York, so-and-so this year, because we all fancy it. We've never been before. So, these days, because we aren't performing, we don't have to do that. But we do get together and say, we'll do an album then, we'll do an album then, and we'll do an album then. Because that's mainly what we do.
What about another Beatles picture?
We've
movie?
done a film which is like very different from anything we've done. Actually, we haven't done it. The film was made around about the time we were making Get Back. They did a film here in Apple, out in Twickenham, all over the place, and it's like a documentary. You know, it's like a film, say, of a painter, and he comes in and sets up a canvas puts one brush mark on, then eventually you see him finish the painting, and it's all that he goes through to get to the painting. Well, with us, it's just somebody walk in, twang G and C and say, this is how the song goes, and then eventually you see us finish the record. It's the stages. It's a good film. It's interesting, you know.
Yes. What do you feel is left for you to do? But what are the Beatles going to be doing when they're 40? Do you think you'll be
I've no idea,
retired?
you know. I don't know, you know, I've never known. I didn't know that when we were playing at the Cavern that we'd be on the Royal Variety performance. And after that, all the papers said, well, what's left for them, you know? So then we went to America. They said, what's left for them then, you know? Then we got into making better albums and stuff, you know. I mean, I just don't know what's going to happen. It'll be all right, though.